Hello, and welcome to What's Your Testimony? I'm one of the hosts, Dr. Sharita Williams, and tonight I have an amazing guest. I have Mr. Michael Norman. Mr. Norman has an incredible story that he has presented here tonight. Mr. Norman, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you
All right.
doing?
I'm great, sir. So tell me a little bit about you, and then we want to hear your testimony.
Well, I'm a business owner here in Charlotte, North Carolina, originally from Bevour, North Carolina, westward in the mountains outside of Asheville, North Carolina. I have a strong passion to help my community to what I have been through. And that is my passion, and my goal is to reach back to others and to help others. I have an electrical company here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm an electrical contractor. I have a wife, and we have a slew of kids, young and old, which keeps me young. It really does. And basically, that's it in a nutshell.
All right. So tell us about your testimony. We want to know, what was your journey from Bevour to Charlotte? How did you get here? What was the passion that drove you here? And how did the journey enable you to open up a school? And tell us about your school.
Okay. Well, I came from a very dark place in my life. I was going through a very hard drug addiction. I used to sell drugs, so my product turned on me. I began to use my own drugs. I guess what goes around comes around. It took me to a very dark place. I did things that I thought I would never do. I seen things that I thought I would never see in my life in that dark place. And it got to the point to where one night when I was in the room by myself, I had over $2,000 worth of drugs at my disposal. And I began to smoke crack cocaine. I was addicted to smoking crack cocaine and a lot of alcohol. And I was in that room, and I began to smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke, and I could not stop. My chest began to beat, and my heart began to feel like it was coming out of my chest. And I remember I was thinking to myself that I was going to die in that room all by myself, smoking crack cocaine. This was it for me. And I remember in that room, it was some light that came in that room. I'm not talking about a physical light that you can see. There's a light that we feel that we cannot see. So it wasn't an illuminating light or miracle light, but I felt something coming to that room that gave me a moment of clarity to where I was able to back away from that cocaine, because I couldn't stop smoking it. And my blood pressure had went up, and I can feel my temples of the veins in my temple beating fast. My heart felt like it was going to come out of my chest. But I backed away from it because I felt a light in that room allowed me to back away from that cocaine for a moment, to put it down, to have a moment of clarity, and to drop down on my knees and say, God, save me. God, help me. I need your help.
Well, Mr. Norman, at this time, do you feel like this is when your purpose came forward? Because I know that you have a school called Global Vocational Training. So
Yes,
is this the light that came on to pursue you to start your journey here with the school?
I feel that now that I look back on it, yes. I feel that was the defining moment. That was the moment of clarity to bring me out of darkness into a light and get me into my purpose. So from there, I went to a treatment center in Black Mountain, North Carolina. They put a suicidal watch on me because I've been through it was a hard journey. I mean, I was running for 3 days straight, just smoking crack cocaine and drinking alcohol. So I was on suicidal watch, and I remember I slept and I slept and I slept. When I finally woke up, then life was clear. Everything was clear in my head, and the thoughts of suicide was gone. I think the Most High was working with me then. So from Black Mountain, I went to Charlotte, North Carolina. And the bus took me to Charlotte, North Carolina after I spent 2 weeks in Black Mountain. I remember they dropping me off in front of the shelter. It was George Shinn Shelter in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they dropped me off. They said, good luck, stay sober, trust in God, and they were gone. So
at that point, is that when you decided to start the school?
No, ma'am. This was a journey.
Yes.
It was a journey. I came out of that bus, and I remember everything that I owned was in 2 hands, and I had 2 cigarettes. I was smoking cigarettes then. I don't smoke anymore. The Most High delivered me from that also. And
Praise
I went to that shelter and asked for a bed. And they said, well, sir, we're sorry we haven't got any beds because we had capacity, but you can sleep on the floor. So I slept on the floor that night, and I slept on the floor for the past 3 nights. And I remember one morning getting up and saying to myself, I can't do this. I just got off of crack cocaine. I just got off of drugs. I just got out of treatment. And I'm in here sleeping on the floor and all these men in here. And it's all this going on. I can't handle it, And I remember telling myself that I'm going to go out to Charlotte, North Carolina and be the baddest drug dealer they ever seen. Charlotte was about ready to turn me out. I wasn't going to turn Charlotte out. I remember walking out the door, getting ready to go out the door, and the word of the day was beside the door. They would always put a positive word of the day there. And I remember seeing it was Martin Luther King's word where he said, the measure of a man is not how well he does. And I'm not quoting this word for word, but the paraphrase, the measure of a man is not how well he's doing during times of good times, but how he handled himself during the time of adversity. I said, okay, God, I hear you. If this is what you want me to do, this is what I'm going to do. So that's when I dropped my anchor right there at that shelter. I said, I don't care if I got to sleep in the mud. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to trust in you, Most High, and this is what I'm going to do. So that was my progressive journey to going towards getting on the positive side and trusting the Most High. And 3 years after that, the school came.
And so how did the name come about of the school?
It came with my electrical contracting business. I named my electrical contracting business International Electrical Solution because I had in my mind, the Most High put it in my mind, I can't see what the Most High see. He said, name your electrical company International Electrical Solution because you're going to go international. What? Go international? I can't even get out of Charlotte. Name it International Electrical Solutions. So I named my electrical company International Electrical Solutions. So with that, to name the school Global Vocational Training Center. We're going global. So we named it Global Vocational Training Center because I really wanted to go to Ethiopia and open up a school also once I finished with Charlotte. So that's where that came from.
Okay, with your operations in your school, what courses can you take? How can you apply at your school? And at the end of their curriculum, do they get a certificate, a diploma? What kind of certification do they get after they go through Global Vocational?
Well, we are teaching electrical, HVAC. Next year, we're going to be teaching fiber optics and solar. The course is 6 months long. They're with me for 6 months and 4 days a week, 5:30 in the afternoon until 9 o'clock at night. We do a lot of hands-on experience. And once they go through the program, when they graduate, we give them $300 worth of tools, and we have pipeline, and they get a NCCER. That's National Center Construction Educational Research. The reason why I say it like that is because a lot of guru construction owners got together and created this curriculum so it can be national. So once they finish this curriculum and this certification that they receive, it's national. They can go anywhere national with this curriculum, and they curriculum and their grades and their skills test is going to be put on a card, which is going to have a digital strip on the back of it. And when they take it to a superintendent or a supervisor, and he take it in his office and he put their number in the computer, it's going to pull up their grades, their skill tests, and what all the courses that they took. So they get a certificate out of Global Vocational Training Center. They get $300 worth of tools, and we guarantee a job.
That's fantastic. So is this course that they take, is it state funded or is it through a nonprofit?
Right now, International Electrical Solution is funding the course. Our year anniversary will be in November. I'm pouring my money into this. We have not received any grants yet. We have not received any state funding yet. But I am really trusting God because this program is so much needed, and not only in Charlotte, but in other Black communities and other cities, it's needed. So I'm trusting the Most High that this funding is going to come. So I'm supporting this with my own money at the moment.
So how many students do you currently have, and how many have you had to graduate this course?
The first session we had started off with 10, graduated 8, and employed all of them, except 2 of them. They
Praise
were
God. Praise God.
100% employment rate and 85% graduation rate. This session we have 16 men and one lady, and I'm shooting for 100% graduation and 100% employment.
So if someone wants to donate or give a contribution to vocational, Global Vocational, how do they get in contact with you?
They can go to our website. We can have a nonprofit entity called Sword of Spirit Outreach, which support the school. They can go to swordofspirit.com, and you can click on the link where it says donate, and then you're going to see where you can donate to the outreach ministry, where we go and give away clothes and food to the community, or you can donate to the school, Global Vocational Training Center. And once you do that, it's going to send you a letter, donation letter for the IRS for tax write-off. Or you can go directly, if you don't want to do the tax write-off, to the Global Vocational Training Center.com website. Click on the donation button. You can either sponsor a student or you can directly donate to the school.
All right, Mr. Norman, what are your future plans, or what are the future plans for Global Vocational Training?
We already got our eyes on Marvin, North Carolina. That's outside of Charlotte. That's in between Wadesboro and Rockingham, North Carolina. We just bought a building up there to empower that community because the community is in distress. Our plan is to put the school up there to teach solar. We're going to teach solar energy. We're going to teach them how to build solar panels. And what we want to do is make a manufacturing in that town that's going to bring jobs of solar panels so they can learn how to install and learn how to do solar. And we can make solar panels and we can ship them out from Marvin. And also we're looking at, and this is the best kept secret, so y'all please don't keep this to yourself. We're going to do container homes. We're going to teach them how to build container homes.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. That is so wonderful. Now, I know that, a part of y'all focus in your mission statement, I was looking at it and I was just blessed because your mission statement is to empower, educate, and employ. And WYTV 7 is educate, empower, and encourage. Mm-hmm. So the triple E. So God has a reigning on the triple E's, and I there's a connection there. And I love it when we look out for the communities. It's so important to look out in our communities because our community is what builds our futures. Right. And a lot of times people are so busy to go out on the mission field when the mission field might be right there in your very own community.
That's right.
So I love it when people take a moment and just concentrate right there where they live, and with your background, you're showing that the impossible can become possible with God.
That's right. That's right. And that's what I'm depending upon as far as these finances, because sometimes it gets really challenging to look and see that, okay, we need this and we need that. And we have to pay for this. But I am trusting in the Most High so much, because I believe that if you have it in your heart, not in your mind, but if you have it in your heart that you really want to help people, then not that we trying to command God to do something, but God has to equip you in order to do the work that he has sent you to do. If you see that you want to do that work from your heart to help people, he will equip you. And I believe that so much. And I'm dependent on trusting on that so much.
Oh, yes, because like in Jeremiah 29:11, when he said he has a plan for you.
That's right.
And so when God has a plan for you, it doesn't matter what happens around you,
Right.
because he sees your future and he knows what will come to pass. And he sees the whole picture. And that's what's so beautiful about God, you know, and it's evident that God has his hand on you and God has his hand on your ministry. And I bask in the glory of God that when men can step forward and help other men. And I commend you for that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. It empowers me every Sunday whenever I go into the jails and teach Bible study every Sunday, and I will see the percentage and the rate of African-American men that's in jail. And it only seems right for me as an African-American man to help my community. And it has nothing to do with racism. It's just a smart thing to do in my community to help my brothers and my sisters to get to the point to where they don't have to worry about how they're going to take care of their family, but they know that they got a way that's legal in the progressive journey to owning their own business. Because we do believe that the trade is the quickest way to own your own business.
Yes, sir, it is. Now, how long have you had a jail ministry?
I've been doing it for 2 years, going inside Mecklenburg County Central Jail, but I've been in ministries. Wow. My dad said it was 17. I was 17 years old. I was going to a Bible college, Chowan College, and my dad was going around the neighborhood saying, "Mike, go be a preacher." I said, "Why is he telling people I'm going to be a preacher? I'm not going to be a preacher." I didn't know. I was 17 years old, you know, and trying to get away from that, but it came right back around. So I was ordained here in Charlotte, North Carolina, with Remnant Outreach Ministry as a minister. And we left Remnant Outreach Ministry to do our own outreach street ministry, my wife and I. We go out to the most distressed neighborhoods, and we give away clothes, and we give away food, and we preach that word of God into the atmosphere to try to break the spiritual bondage of that community so that the people can have a moment of clarity like I had in that room that night and understand that, oh, wow, what I'm doing is wrong. Let me turn back to God so I can get out of this.
You know, and people, you know, I love that, you know, there are miracles and there is hope. And if someone can give someone hope, that is so important, you know, because God gives us hope. He gives us hope every day. And sometimes you can be so distressed or down and out that you think there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm so glad that they have a program that men, especially our Black men, can reach out to someone and someone that they mirror, you know. So when they reach out, they see or look, they see you. They see a Black man, and that's powerful. And I what is your take on that?
It just keeps me going. That's what keeps me going. Because they call me and say, "Mr. Mike, Mr. Norman, I got this problem." I sit and I talk with them, and I see the obstacles that they face. I have grandmothers calling me. I have mothers calling me. And this school only been in operation a year in November, and we are already reaching a level to where it just outgrown me. And people are coming to the schools. Mothers are bringing their sons in that has problems in high school, and they come to my class, and I sit talk with them, and I put them out there with my guys that's already done made it, already done went through the trouble, and the guys would tell them and that look, we done been through this, so we're not doing that this way. We're doing it the right way. So they mentor each other out there. It just makes me, it just overwhelms me. I'm overwhelmed.
And I'm sure. So the guys that have graduated, I'm gonna say graduate, so to speak, and have went on, they come back and they also pour into the other or the new coming students.
Yes, I have them come into the class and speak to them and mentor them and talk with them. And then when I put them out on the job site, because when they graduate, and we also pipeline with a company named Aerotech and other business owners so that we can have a pipeline for everybody. Some of them will work for me, but when I put them out there, it's like I'm putting them in a family that's saying that we're not going no more for the drugs, we're not going for the guns, we're not going for the violence, we're going for owning our own business. I drive at home. This is your business. Work on opening up your own business so you can feed your family, take care of your family, go home and be happy, and your wife and your kids are happy about what you do. So they got that in their spirit and their soul, and they're not going to let anybody mess that up. So they become a family on the same level. Yes.
Now, do you, like in this program, do they have certain regimens they have to do? Like, how do you determine, like, whether they're still on drugs? Do they have to do drug testing, or you just trust them?
Both. I don't do a random drug test, but when my electrician called me and tell me that, hey, maybe we need to drug test him, then that's when we a drug tester. But I give them that benefit of a doubt and that trust that they can be men and go out there and be part of the family and help not only this company grow, but your progression grow.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Norman. Mr. Norman, every interview, I always ask my guests if there's one thing or one statement that they can leave with our audience, because, you know, our audience, that's how we stay on the air, and also with donations. But if there's one thing that you could say to our guests, to our audience tonight, what would that be?
It would be, it's time for us to put our work where our mouth is. It's time for us to educate our community, empower our community, and employ our community. We can do it as a nation. We should not be dependent on other nations to uplift our communities. We can do it with the help. We have to take the Most High God with us. We cannot do it without the Most High God.
Mr. Norman, can you give your website again for Global Vocational Center and a telephone number, if possible, that someone can get in contact with you and find out more about the school?
Yes, the website is globalvocationaltrainingcenter.com. And my number, you can call me, 704-777-5626. And I thank you for having me on. This has been really, really uplifting. Now you got me on another level.
Well, Norman, again, I'd like to thank you for being on WYTV7 and what's your testimony. And right now, I would like to charge and make a plea to any company, any individual, any philanthropist that would like to make a donation or to sponsor one of the students at the Global Vocational Training Center. We would like for you to contact Mr. Norman and give a donation to his school. We would like to empower, educate, and employ. And he has done a great job. And Mr. Norman, we are proud of the work you're doing. And we salute you. And this is Sharita Williams at WYTV7. What's your testimony? We would like to thank our listeners. We would like to thank WYTV7 Broadcasting. And if you would like to give a donation to WYTV7 or be a guest on our show, please contact us at WYTV7.org. And good night.